Let the record show that the council meeting is now reconvened. It is 7:25 p.m. with full council present. First on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following changes? Move Council Memo 571-17 position vacancies job descriptions from consent agenda to be voted on separately. Move Council Memo 572-17, request for authorization to award a contract to administer mandatory annual fire department physicals, and Council Memo 606-17, request for authorization to award a contract for the Spring Creek Interceptor sewer lining at the CN Rail Yard. Move those both under award of contracts. Is there a motion to approve with the preceding changes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I'd like to speak about Memo 578-17, the vacation carryover to the deferred payment, etc. Looking at the memo, I guess I'm kind of surprised to see the language is still in there that the city manager may grant some, has the authority to let people do this due to certain requirements, maybe like prolonged sickness or overstaffing, staffing requirements where a person could take time off. We've had an ex-city manager and a current temporary city manager both say that the continuing practice is clearly unsustainable. So I'm kind of surprised that language is still in that draft of the ordinance, you know, because that's a potential down the road. A may can be used means that you can use it. It's not that it will not or shall not be used. So kind of concerned about that. And on the front page where you have the background, looking at that, this, by the way, congratulations on doing the salary adjustment thing. I think that was a great idea, trying to consolidate those. I think that was a long overdue process. But just taking a quick glance at this stuff, I didn't have a whole lot of time because I just got in last night. But looking at the proposal on Appendix A, it looks like some of those salary have a rather large adjustment already. So when you say that you will take the 2% raise as the example you have in a proposal and just go ahead and put it into the base, may be a little dangerous because you might want to look at management salaried and non-salaried employees and say that you'll do a market adjustment every couple of years. And that's maybe a little bit fair because if you say you will, I mean, we have a city who has balanced the budget the last 4 years with reserve money. And this year probably don't look that great with a reduction from the state, $1.9 million. We had over $1 million to pay out with this deferred payment. So these are kind of some of the things I think the council needs to look at before they vote on that memo tonight and maybe make some of those adjustments. That's just my thoughts as a taxpayer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Next is council committee reports, land use and legislative committee report.
Yes, Land Use and Legislative Committee met on November the 2nd here in the council chamber. The committee members, along with myself, is Councilman Dickinson and Councilwoman Quillman. We had a few agenda items. One agenda item came back to us for review. It was the electronic message centers, and it'll be going to the Plan Commission They're meeting this month, and it would be coming to the full council in our first meeting in December. And the council, not in our this last committee meeting, but the committee meeting before we moved it, but it just came back with some corrections and things of that nature. And so far, it seems to be working well with most of the sign companies. There still was some issues with the flip times and things of that nature. But the ordinance will again be going to Plan Commission this month and then to the full council. And actually, I was going to discuss this the second agenda item, Chris, but I think you would probably do more justice. It was the selling dog and with dog and cats. And what this was, and we've been talking about this for several months now, but Attorney Regis has done real well, and he brought, actually there's 3 different ordinances. And one was moved for approval, and I let Chris kind of give you, explain that one. And the other 2, we actually bring both to the full council in our December meeting for consideration. Chris, you mind? I'm sorry I didn't give you a heads up.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
The ordinance that was approved and will be sent to the council for approval restricts the sales of, in very basic terms, it restricts the sales of cats and dogs from public places, parkways, parking lots, sidewalks, and also prohibits the awarding, giving away animals as prizes, as in raffles, carnivals, contests, those types of things. So that was approved and is to be sent to the council. There are 2, what was not approved but will be sent to the council for their consideration in the next meeting was the proposed ordinances regarding pet stores and the sources from which they get their dogs. That's the puppy mill ordinance that everyone's been talking about. So there will be 2 options for the council to consider next week, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Chris. Another agenda item was the boundary lines for Shanahan. We were addressed by the attorney of Shanahan concerning the boundary lines off of near 55 and Route 6, and explained that what they were proposing doing with this particular area there for Shanahan for some economic growth for the city of Shanahan. So the committee moved to approve that to the full council. So that will be on our agenda next meeting. Then we also had just kind of an update of a RFQ that the staff will be sending out for a comprehensive plan for the entire city of Joliet. In the past, we've done certain areas. So the city will be sending RFQ out to consultants to submit for the city to hire a consultant in the near future, and all the stakeholders and community leaders will be brought in and you know, to work with the consultant to come with a comprehensive plan for the entire city. Another agenda item that we had and had quite a bit of discussion over was the nepotism ordinance, the anti-nepotism ordinance, which is I thought was again legal department brought this forth, and that's something very important for the city. And I agree with. There was one issue in there that we had somewhat discussion over concerning being a public official and not having a relative work for the city. But it was moved to the full council because I do believe that overall it is definitely something that we need to have in place. So, again, without, that was one of the issues, Mayor, that we kind of, touched on at the committee level with staff. And again, Mr. Regis kind of explained, why that was about the, running for office or, and having someone working for the city. And I think that kind of completes my report. I don't know if any of the committee members have anything to add.
No, that was good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
The Public Service met this afternoon here at City Hall in the conference room. On the Public Service Committee is Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Dickinson, and myself. Generally, the items were street repair contracts, bids, and change orders, water and sewer. Pretty much standard contracts. One item that I would point out is we're expanding the, what is it called, pay and view? The automated payments for downtown parking. It's gonna be easier. You can pay with your credit cards or with coins. And you can also, down the road, you'll be able to pay with your cell phone through an app. There will be a convenience charge. So we found all the bids, orders, change orders, and contracts to be in order, and they're all on the agenda tonight, and they all met with unanimous approval for a recommendation to approve. And that's my report. Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on October 16th and the minutes of the council meeting held on October 17th, 2017 stand approved as recorded. Council Memo 571-17 will be voted on separately. Council Memo 572-17 will be moved under award of contracts. And Council Memo 573-17, disposable payment, IMRF retirement. It's recommended said consent agenda items be approved.
So moved.
Second. Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 571-17, position vacancies, job descriptions. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill one part-time evidence custodian property manager position, one part-time latent fingerprint examiner position, and the following positions due to organizational restructuring: one budget officer, one public assets supervisor, and one public works administrator. In addition, staff is recommending approval of the following job descriptions: evidence custodian property manager, latent fingerprint examiner, public asset supervisor, public works administrator, and budget officer. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
No.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Under ordinances and resolutions, Council Memo 575-17, ordinances amending Chapter 28, Articles 3, titled Vehicle Tax, 7, Hotel and Motel Accommodations, 8, Food and Liquor Purchases, and 9, Retail Purchase of Motor Fuel. It's amending procedure for the filing and payment of motor fuel taxes. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Girl,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 576-17, an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow continuation of a healthcare medical imaging center in an I-1 light industrial zoning district located at 254 Republic Avenue. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman,
Aye.
Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Girl,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 577-17, ordinances amending Chapter 25, Article 5, Lost Abandoned Property, Sections 25-70, 2571, Chapter 31, Article 5, Sewers, Division 14, Discharge Permits, Section 31, 531B, and Chapter 23, Article 2, Planning, Division 3, Plan Commission, Section 2339. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 578-17, an ordinance amending and restating ordinance 17619, which established salary ranges and fringe benefits for exempt employees. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
I move to table
Is there a second?
so we get more information.
Is there a second for the table? Okay. Seeing no second, motion is denied.
Move to approve. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 578-17. Councilman Turk,
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Girl,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
No.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Just for the record, I do not wish anybody not to have a raise. And I think people that are not being paid what they should be paid should be brought up to par. I just think that this was too quick, too fast. And I would want some more information and vet it a little better until maybe the new city manager gets here. So therefore, tonight I have to vote no on this because these wouldn't go into effect till January 1st anyway. So it wouldn't matter if it passed today or passed in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So that's why I'm voting no.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 579-17, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 13, Acquisition and Disposal of Personal Property and Services, Division 2, Purchasing and Bidding Procedures, Section 2, 436, 2, 437, 2, 438, 2, 444B1 and 2, and 2, 447A1 and 2, amending the dollar amount which triggers public bidding requirements. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 580-17, approval of an ordinance to propose a feasibility study and report with respect to designation of a certain area as a tax increment financing redevelopment area, downtown Joliet. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 582-17, a resolution appointing a City of Joliet Plan Trustee for the city's Deferred Compensation 457 plans. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 583-17, a resolution approving a TIF development agreement with John Bays Enterprises LLC, 201 to 203 North Ottawa Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 584-17, a resolution appointing a City of Joliet authorized agent to the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 585-17. A resolution authorizing the transfer of police dog to Officer Robert Badisher. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Just so everybody knows, this is the partner that Officer Badisher had for 12 years, and his name was Hero. He's 12 years old. Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 586-17, a resolution approving the renaming of the Joliet Baseball Stadium to Joliet Route 66 Stadium. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Nobody want to get it.
So moved. I'm sorry.
There's a motion, we need a second to approve the renaming of Joliet to Joliet Route 66 Stadium.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Based on our contract with the Slammers, I understand that it is our right to name the stadium. I think we need to make sure we have more communication always with our tenants during any changes that we're making, as long as we have a tenant in the facility. But I will vote yes, aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 587-17, a resolution in support of the Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program for the Chicago streetscape improvements. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 588-17, a resolution appropriating funds for the Charity Avenue Sherman Street roadway improvements project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 589-17, a resolution authorizing the sale of vacant surplus real estate, 300 block of Ohio Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 590-17, resolution authorizing the sale of vacant surplus real estate at 1214 Hay. Recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under award of contracts, Council Memo 572-17, request for authorization to award a contract to administer mandatory annual fire department physicals. Council Memo 592-17, award contracts for the purchase of motor fuels 2018. Council Memo 593-17, award a contract for the Charity Avenue Sherman Street roadway improvements project. Council Memo 594-17, approve the 2017-2018 rock salt purchase contract. Memo 595-17, purchase water meters and smart point radios. Council Memo 596-17, approve software upgrade for automatic meter reading system. Council Memo 597-17, purchase public safety vehicles. Council Memo 598-17, purchase and install pay and display terminals for on-street parking. And Council Memo 606-17, award a contract for the Spring Creek Interceptor sewer lining at the CN Rail Yard. It's recommended council memos 572-17, 592 through 598-17, and council memo 606-17 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Amendments, change orders, and payments. Council memo 600-16, approved change order number 1 for the 2017 miscellaneous sanitary sewer point repairs project. Council memo 601-17, approved change order number 1 and payment number 5 and final for the Terry Drive Water Main Improvements Project. Council memo 602-17, approved change order number 1 and payment number 4 and final for the Mary Crest Phase 2 Water Main Improvements Project. Council memo 603-17, approve amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement for the 2017 Water System Rehabilitation Program. Council memo 604-17, approve change order number 2 for the 2017 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. Council memo 605-17, approve amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement for the Washington Street Stream Bank Stabilization Program. Council memo 606-17 was previously approved under award of contracts. Council memo 607-17, approve amendment number 1 to the professional engineering services agreement for phase 1 and 2 engineering services for the Hobolt Road interchange modification and roadway reconstruction project. And council memo 608-17, approve change order number 1 for the well 22D rehabilitation project. It's recommended council memos 600 through 605-17 and 607-17 through 608-17 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
No report.
New business not for final action or recommendation.
Just one question, Your Honor. Thank you. Staff, could we get an update on the LED lighting project? I know it's coming this way. Can kind of get an update of where we are? Okay, thank.
Tonight, you want the update?
Oh, no, Jim, you can send it to me. I just need an update. Or if you have something. I hate to put you on the spot like that, brother. If you got a couple of minutes there, can you give us?
Yeah, we have the last segment of the major street lights that we're converting from high-pressure sodium to LED lights. We've got those under contract right now. We should finish those by the end of the year. It's very important we get them done by the end of the year to confirm that we get that grant we're working on. It was economic development, now it's actually through combat with utility companies. But that'll finish off all the major lights in town, which is about 2,200 major lights.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we've previously done over the last year, about 60% of them.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
Appreciate it, man.
Nope.
A couple of things. Number one, Marty, you want to talk about the Crest Hill ordinance that we voted down at the last meeting?
Sure. So the last time there was a discussion that was brought up about the case against the city by Crest Hill. So I passed out a copy of it yesterday. It actually wasn't, I'm trying to find my copy of it. It actually wasn't Crest Hill at all. It was actually the landowner that brought a suit against the city of Joliet, not Crest Hill. And this was in 2000, this was a case that was originally started in 1999 and then in 2001. So I thought maybe if there was, if anyone got confused, I thought I'd pass out the case, or actually wasn't really a case of Crest Hill versus the city of Joliet. It was a business called Crest Hill Land Development LLC.
And if I can add to that, I met with Mayor Solomon and the attorney from Crest Hill. Essentially what Mayor Solomon said to me was that there was always a gentleman's agreement between Crest Hill and Joliet and what was gonna happen with that traffic light. So what was brought forward and what was recommended by staff was what the city had told Crest Hill 10 years ago we were going to do. And Jim Triz, I don't want to put you on the spot, but your name did come up in the meeting. From your recollection, is that accurate that our city and Crest Hill had some type of agreement, although it was never reduced to writing, about what was going to happen?
Yes, that's correct. That's why we brought the agreement last meeting. We brought the written intergovernmental agreement to council last meeting. But that was always agreed. Crest Hill, the city of Crest Hill now, wanted to go and improve the intersection of Division and Gaylord. The intersection, the lanes don't line up properly, so they were going to have all the lanes fully aligned. Essentially, the north leg and the west leg of the intersection are City of Joliet streets. The east leg and the south leg are Crest Hill streets. They took the lead. They're the ones who went and got a grant, the STP grant from the Will County Governmental League for 80% of the construction cost. Typically, and they're going to, besides improving the alignment and the geometrics of the intersection, they're also putting in a traffic signal. Part of the agreement was that they would pay the local share, the local 20% share of the construction cost, and if Joliet would go and maintain that traffic signal. So that's essentially what the agreement said, the intergovernmental agreement when we brought the council last meeting.
Thank you. So knowing this, and after speaking with Mayor Solomon, Marty, I would ask that we bring this forward to the council at the next meeting. I don't know if the city council agrees, but if a previous administration had made this agreement with Crest Hill, I think we should honor it. The traffic signal does affect our residents in a positive way there. So it's my opinion, but I would like to see it come back. This is new information that we didn't have 2 weeks ago when we made the vote. And could you put it on the agenda in 2 weeks?
Sure.
All right. Number two, there was an incident this week at Joliet Central regarding allegations of an active shooter, man entering the campus or the building with a firearm. Chief Ben, I know I thanked you and your officers for the good work you did. I thank Superintendent Cheryl McCarthy, because from what I understand, her staff responded very well. And I also thank WJOL that was broadcasting live at the time, I think countering some of the rumors or misinformation that was being passed on social media. Having said that, could you explain to our residents what the protocol is if a call like this comes in, a gunman entering a Joliet school?
Yes, Mayor. As you said, Dr. McCarthy and her staff do a great job. We're very fortunate to have the relationship that we do with our local high school staff. This particular incident developed basically off of a bet. One of the students, a lot of times we see kids doing things that probably aren't most advisable, but this one, when the threat of a student with a gun came in, we have to take it on its face value and treat it as if it's a real threat until we can confirm otherwise. Dr. McCarthy's staff did an excellent job of implementing a lockdown. Our staff responded accordingly. We began the investigation. The problem was a lot of times social media, while it can be an asset, it can also hurt us. So this incident spread. So there was a second call that came in about a completely different person entering the school with a gun, because what we've seen are sometimes there's some copycat elements to it. So we don't want people to overreact. A lot of parents initially called both the school and the police department trying to confirm what was going on before we even had the facts. Fortunately, it was all a hoax. There was a student arrested and charged with a Class 2 felony offense, locked up at the Juvenile Detention Center. But it was because of this information that spread. It actually went all the way out to the Troy Grade School District, I'm told, and some of the parents received some information there that was actually false. So while we do try to get the information out as quick as possible to our media sources, sometimes we don't have the answers just yet. WJOL, the Herald News, the local reporting staff have been very helpful in trying to get the information up online quickly. But I would just ask parents not to overreact. Don't spread information that they may find, that they might hear somewhere if they don't know that it's true. And hopefully we will be able to get an answer out very quickly on whether or not there's a true threat. Quite often when it comes to the schools, we err on the side of caution. We will implement a lockdown if there is any potential for there to be danger to any of the students in the school or the immediate area. So we'll implement sometimes a soft lockdown, not necessarily a full lockdown where kids are locked in the class, but we'll coordinate with staff to to not let anybody in or out of the building until we can track. The camera systems they have at the schools are excellent. They help us to work backwards. But again, time is usually the essence, and it takes a little bit of time for us to get the answers that we need and to get that information out. But I would watch the local social media sources for information and just not overreact. That's all I would ask.
Well, thank you. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, yes, this is kind of an odd situation because I don't want to go to comments. You brought up that we have new information about this whole light thing with the warehouses that were built in the neighborhoods. It doesn't change anything. It's my district. I've talked to the people, many of these people. It's great that we clarified the record to say that it wasn't Crest Hill per se as a village that sued us, but they certainly stepped aside, zoned it against the wishes of our residents and their own residents to put warehouses in the neighborhood. Now, that light does not benefit the neighborhood as much as it benefits their industrial warehouse project, and they're going to put it in even without our money. And no, I would like to know what official gave some kind of backroom handshake deal. What official, by what authority, said we would do this 10 years ago?
Well, I don't know if it was an official or if it was city staff, but Jim Trisna just said there was an understanding between our city and Crest Hill.
Jim, do you know who stepped forward at that time and claimed they had authority to charge the residents to support a project they were against?
No, I don't know exactly who said we would do it.
Then we don't have an
If it's the
agreement.
City manager or not.
Let him
but-
answer. Don't interrupt him.
But the bottom line was that it was basically the engineer working for Crest Hill, Christopher Burke Engineering, was working with myself, Russ Lubash, our traffic engineer, talking about the project, and we're trying to make sure, you know, the project was built the proper way. We want to make sure they're aligned with the lanes, things of that nature, making sure we get a good road improvement when it's all said and done.
So who gave them the word of the city that we would help them pay for their own project?
I'll ask Mayor Solomon. when I speak
Please,
with
please
him.
do.
And, you know, you can feel free to vote no. I don't think that's the issue at this point. And whether you agree with what Crest Hill's done with their property isn't an issue for the Joliet City Council.
Mayor, I don't
But-
think, with all due respect, you're not hearing me. I've talked to the residents, I don't believe you have. They don't want to pay to help in any, without one penny, to help with the project that they were vocally against. That has negatively impacted their immediate area.
And in my opinion, then the city of Joliet shouldn't have given our word that we were gonna do this.
Who? We don't have a
Apparently
name.
we did. We'll figure it out for you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Next is public comments. Rosemary Breen.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Breen. I'm here with the Heritage House Condo Association. And in the Herald News recently, you had an article about lost water. We know where the lost water is because we've had an issue since 2016 that we've come before. Different places have come out and tried to look at this. We have an underground parking situation and storage buildings down there. There's storage areas. It has been leaking at the west end of our building since 2016 in June. They have come out, they have done repairs. They've replaced pipes, I think around 5 different times. We're concerned because one of the drain in the middle of the floor has gone down. And I'm thinking that this is caused because it's been undermined from all this leakage and the erosion. And this, even when there was a drought, there was a lot of water. So there's broken pipes back there, and the city's aware of it, but they just haven't done anything. We're also concerned because this drive, when you go down, that whole wall is brick. And we're afraid that that water keeps coming, it's gonna undermine that whole brick wall is gonna cave in. And the third reason is because of the cost to the city with all that water that they're losing. So if you can have someone come out and look at that again. The last we had heard from anybody was in September. And then Joe has some things to say too.
Jimmy, again, could you address this? Are you familiar with this issue?
Yes, we are aware of the leak. We've had our leak detection contractor out there. The leak is very minor. It's getting into the drainage on the backside of the wall, so it is coming out the weep holes and flowing across the drive area.
It's not minor. Joe has some pictures here he can show you. And there's always water down there.
But we do have that slated. We've replaced sections of pipe on that run. And we're looking at having to do a rehabilitation on that section of water main. That's in the budget for next year to redo that.
Not until next year, what about this winter? Between now and
Drainage, water, salt water.
Last time we were there, we ended up doing an exploratory dig until we found a leak. And that's what we're looking at having to do coming up.
Could you address the council, please? What is this picture that you just handed us?
That picture is from the drive that goes into our garage from Heritage Drive into our garage. There is a fire hydrant that's right at the corner of the drive that goes down. The water main that goes from that, where all this water is coming from, goes to a fire hydrant in the back of our property. It then goes into a timber line out to Robert Court. One of the concerns I have, obviously there's a lot of water that's leaking into the ground. If that water main breaks, there's no water service to Robert Court. If there's a fire or an emergency, there may not be enough water in the hydrant to protect those homes. The water continues to leak. It's a brick wall. The bricks are flailing. If you look at the side of the wall, it is definitely bowing out at the bottom. Repairs have been attempted many times over the last couple of years. It stops for a while and then it continues.
Jim, when you say it's a minor leak, what would you consider to be a minor leak?
Last time we looked at it, it's probably less than 100 gallons a minute.
Okay. And are you, your staff going back out there to look at this?
We can go out and look at it again. I'm not aware of any changes since the last time we did look at it.
Is there a plan to address this?
It was in the budget for next year to do a lining project on that section of water main.
Marty, would you consider doing something before next year?
Yeah, why don't I,
We can take a look at it again tomorrow. And
Okay, can we get back in touch with the residents?
last discussion I had on this, we were gonna try to address the leak, but because it's been constantly reoccurring, we're planning on doing a rehabilitation on this section of water main.
Okay.
We don't plan on letting it run like that over the winter.
Okay.
Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm familiar with this building. My father had a condo in this building. I think it really does go back prior to 2016 because Jim and the crew were out there and it would, like he said, it would stop for a while and then even in droughts it would start back up again. And the bad part is when it freezes down there in the winter because, it's number one, eroding the wall, and number two, there's a constant pool of ice down there coming into the garage. It's underground. And so there's definitely something going on down there. So.
What is that? I'm curious. What was that brick wall? Is it like some sort of retaining wall, or what is that brick wall?
There's a basement driveway, basement garage, so it's a driveway going down to the basement. And it's a concrete wall that's faced with brick.
Okay. Thank you.
It's okay, he won't yell at you.
Actually, my colleague here says 2016. I have been living there for almost 15 years now. And I fell one winter. My remote was not working, so I had to get out of my car to get into my garage. And that area there where the leak is had frozen and had snowed overnight. So this was in the evening, and I stepped out of my car, and I went down, and I dislocated my shoulder, and I broke it. So that did happen. So it's been going on for a long time. Okay.
Marty, if you can take a look at this, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak under public comments? She was cute. Next is mayor and council comments.
Nothing.
Yes. Your Honor, I'd just like to send out from the Gavin family, Trustee Gavin and myself, for all of those who had prayed for us and supported us with your condolences in the loss of my mother-in-law and his mother. We want to say thank you and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for this.
I just wanted to acknowledge that we have a Boy Scout troop here. They've been sitting through the entire meeting, including our executive session, patiently. Can someone stand up and say which troop you're from and where you're from?
Sit to the microphone, please. Thank you.
We are from Troop 175 out of Joliet, Illinois.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
This for a
You stayed
badge?
the whole meeting. I left already once.
Is this for a badge?
Yeah.
I figured that.
Thank you, gentlemen. The only other thing I'm going to say is it's playoff time, football. And Joliet, the city of it, represented pretty well. Joliet West High School, for the second year in a row, made it into the playoffs. They did so by beating Plainfield Central, my school, to make themselves 5-4. And Plainfield Central broke a 39-game losing streak over 4.5 years by getting 4 wins. Had they beat Joliet West, they would have been in the playoffs. So that's pretty good for the Joliet residents. Joliet West lost to Lincoln Way East, which is a powerhouse this year, in the first round, but they represented the city well. Then on our far west side, Manuka High School is still in the running. They're going into the quarterfinals. They will be playing Edwardsville. Manuka is 9-2, and Edwardsville is 8-3. And yes, Manuka has to drive to Edwardsville. You know where that's at? It's a long. I think they're going the day before. And on the far east side, a small section of our city, a little pie cut, Lincoln Way West is still in the playoffs. They're 9-2, and they're in the quarterfinals, and they're playing Batavia at home this Saturday, who's 10-1. So congratulations to all these high schools that do represent Joliet for what they've done, and good luck.
Well, I would just like to take this time to tell everybody that's a veteran, thank you for your service, well-deserved, because without them fighting for our freedoms, we wouldn't have these wonderful council meetings today. And you wouldn't be able to work on your government badge, I assume that's what it is. Government badge? Yes. I remember I was a Girl Scout. So hug a vet, thank a vet for your freedom, and it's coming up on Veterans Day is November 11th, this Saturday. Attend a service if you want to, but thank you for your service and for what you did for all of us.
Just echo Councilwoman Coleman, the ceremony downtown in front of the courthouse is Saturday, and I believe it starts at 10 in the morning.
Are they, I didn't know they were having it, that's why I was,
having it this
okay.
year. I attended the 4th Annual Ambassador Day at the University of St. Francis. I got there at the very end. I know Councilman Mudger was there, but great job to University of St. Francis and Dr. Arver Johnson. The Mike Adler Memorial Auditorium was open at the Boys and Girls Club. I know Councilman Dickinson was there with me. I think others on the council were there. Great job to the Boys and Girls Club, and thank you for the Mike Adler family for their donations. Joliet Central had on Saturday the 26th, the Women and Girls Health Expo. It was a nice event at Joliet Central, so thank you for putting that on. On the 28th, the Spanish Center had their Halloween open house. It's a very nice event, and I want to thank the Spanish Center, congratulate them. They had a real rough ride there with the state budget, and they were in dire straits, but they appear to really be heading in the right direction. So great job to the staff of the Spanish Center. There were 3 ribbon cuttings that I attended the last couple of weeks. I know many of the council people were there. World Key on Jefferson Street had their grand opening. That dealership is doing somewhere around 60 cars a month. So they're really, really knocking it out of the park there. They had Kia representatives from the corporate headquarters that were in town. It was a real nice grand opening, so congratulations and good luck to the Kia dealership. Home 2 Suites, ribbon cutting out at the mall. It's another hotel that's opened up in Joliet. Real nice, kind of a different concept hotel. I was very impressed, but I want to welcome them to Joliet. And then finally, last week, the Water's Edge ribbon cutting. Most of the city council was there. I know it was covered pretty extensively in the media. Great job to Michael Simelton and the Housing Authority. If you haven't driven down Desplain Street, I would encourage you to take a look at what replaced what used to be dilapidated public housing. It's nice, brand new housing. Great for the $19 million investment in that neighborhood. So thank you to the Housing Authority for the work that they've done in our city, and especially in that neighborhood, which really could use a shot in the arm. And Councilman Morris, I know you were instrumental through that whole process. It's your district, and I know you played a big role in making this happen and kind of garnered or marshaling this as it went through. So thank you for you for the hard work on this.
Thank you, Mayor.
And that's all I have.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.